She brought it in a shoebox, wrapped in an old sweater that still smelled faintly like cedar and perfume. "This was in Mom's things," she said, setting it down carefully on my coffee table like it might shatter. "I thought you should be the one to open it. We hadn't seen each other in months. Maybe longer." The funeral had drained us both not just of grief, but of whatever glue had held our silences together for the past decade. Still, here she was, sitting across from me, sipping tea like it was just another rainy Tuesday. I pulled the envelope from the box. Yellowed, but sealed. No stamp. No name. Just a symbol drawn in ink, a small sun, half covered by a black horizon. And inside, a single photograph. It was old, blurred at the corners. A woman stood in the center, pale, elegant, expression unreadable. Next to her, two little girls, about 5 or 6. One of them looked exactly like me. The other didn't. But she was familiar. Too familiar. Because she looked exactly like my sister. Only younger. But not in the way time works, in the way memories distort. On the back of the photo, in trembling handwriting. "She is not your sister. Never was." I didn't say anything for a long time. My sister, Claire, watched me. Calmly. Almost too calmly. As if she was bracing for something she'd already imagined many times over. "You didn't write this?" I asked. She shook her head. "No. But Mom kept it hidden. In the bottom of the cedar chest, under the quilts. It wasn't meant to be found." I looked at the photo again. Same house in the background. Same porch railing we used to sit on during summer storms. Same crooked wind chime. Only, the girl beside me was wearing a locket. The same one Claire had worn our whole lives. She said it was a gift from Mom. But Mom always denied it. Said she didn't remember. Back then, we laughed it off. Typical Mom. Always forgetting. But now it didn't feel funny. Now it felt rehearsed. "You think Mom wrote this?" I asked. Claire hesitated. "I don't know. Maybe. But the handwriting doesn't look like hers." "Then who?" She didn't answer. She just stood and went to the window, arms folded tight. Outside, the rain hit the glass like it was trying to whisper something urgent. Finally, Claire said, "There's more. That wasn't the only photo." "There's more?" I asked. Claire nodded, still staring out the window. "I didn't bring them. I didn't want to overwhelm you." "Too late." She gave a soft, humorless laugh, then pulled out her phone and tapped a few times before handing it to me. On the screen, another photograph. Same era. Same porch. But different girls. The one on the left was definitely me. Younger, missing teeth, grinning. The other girl, Claire again, but wrong. Her face was the same. But the clothes, the posture, even the expression. She didn't look like someone I knew. She looked like someone pretending to be someone I used to know. "Where did you find this?" Claire shrugged. "There were dozens. Albums Mom kept in a locked box in the attic. This one was tucked between pages, no caption." I studied it closely. There was a timestamp in the corner, those old yellow numbers from disposable cameras. Only this date didn't match my memory. We were supposed to be in Vermont that summer, visiting our cousins. I remember the trip, the road signs, the roadside diner, the bee sting. I remember that photo being taken, but not in this location. So what was this? Later that night, I dug through my own albums. The ones I had taken when I moved out. The ones no one had touched in years. There it was, a photo of the same summer. Same dress, same missing teeth. But this time, I was alone in the shot. No Claire. Not even in the background. My stomach turned. Was it edited? Cropped? Had we remembered it differently? I flipped through more pages, my fingers trembling. In nearly half the photos, Claire was there. In the other half, she wasn't. Not absent. Just never present. I called my aunt, the one who used to babysit us. She sounded tired, but glad to hear from me. "Hey," I said, keeping my voice light. "Quick question. Do you remember when Claire and I stayed with you that summer when Mom got sick?" A pause. "I remember you staying with me," she said slowly. "Not Claire." More silence. "I don't think she was there. I remember you coloring on the porch, eating peaches. But just you." I didn't know what to say. She filled the gap. "Funny," she added, "I always thought you were an only child." Until your mother corrected me once. Very firmly. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling, heart racing. I kept telling myself this was grief. This was memory distortion. This was my brain inventing cracks because morning demands chaos. But by morning, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, either Claire or Mom, or maybe both, had been living a lie so long, they no longer knew where the truth ended. In the morning, I opened the cedar box myself. Under the quilts. Beneath the old scarves. I found another envelope. This one sealed in wax. Inside, a birth certificate. Not mine. Claire's. Only her name wasn't Claire. And her listed mother wasn't mine. The paper was thin, almost translucent with age. I held it up to the light, watching how the ink bled slightly into the fibers, like it didn't want to be read. Name, Anna Claire Morrison. Date of birth, March 9, 1989. Mother, Elaine Morrison. Father. Place of birth, Easton Memorial Hospital. None of it matched what I'd been told. Our birthdays were supposedly a week apart. We celebrated together every year, twin cakes, twin songs, twin wishes. But this said March. I was born in July. And Morrison? Our mother's name was Harper. Always had been. I laid the certificate down like it might explode and stared at the wax seal. It wasn't from any government office. It was floral, decorative, a family crest I didn't recognize. Something told me Mom had sealed it herself. Claire, or Anna, was still asleep in the guest room. I could hear her light snoring through the vent. I should have waited. Should have asked calmly. Instead, I stormed in holding the certificate like an accusation. Do you want to explain this? I said. She blinked awake, groggy. What is that? You tell me. Because according to this, your name isn't Claire. And my mother isn't your mother. Her expression didn't change. Not at first. Then she sat up slowly, took the paper from my hands, and said, I was wondering when you'd find it. It was the calm that broke me. The absence of panic. As if she had rehearsed this moment, not the confrontation itself, but the inevitability of it. You knew, I whispered. She nodded. Not always. But I've known for a while. I stared. Then who are you? She hesitated. Then said, I don't know. She told me the truth like someone recalling a dream. Bits and pieces. Things she wasn't sure she'd remembered correctly. Things she was afraid to confirm. I was adopted, she said. Or placed. Or stolen. Depends who you ask, I guess. I'm asking you. She met my eyes. And I'm telling you I don't know. She said she overheard Mom talking on the phone when she was 15. The words "not real" and "papers burned" caught her attention. She snooped. Found nothing. But then years later, she found a postcard in Mom's sock drawer. It was addressed to someone named Elaine Morrison. Signed by someone named Lyle. It ended with the words, How is she? Does she know yet? I confronted Mom once, Claire said. She told me it was an old friend. Nothing more. But she got rid of the drawer the next day. I rubbed my forehead, trying to process. So, you're not my sister. Claire shook her head. I don't know if I ever was. But I loved her. I loved you. I didn't answer. I couldn't. That evening, I found another envelope buried in Mom's recipe books. Handwritten. No return address. Postmarked 1991. Inside, a photo. A baby wrapped in a hospital blanket. And a note that read, For safekeeping. Please don't ask questions. The signature at the bottom? Harper. My mother. I read the note again. For safekeeping. Please don't ask questions. And the signature, unmistakably my mother's. The handwriting was rounded, confident. Not trembling with guilt. Not rushed. As if she hadn't been hiding anything. As if she thought what she did made perfect sense. But it didn't. Claire, or Anna, sat across from me at the kitchen table, arms folded like a barricade. I slid the envelope toward her. She opened it, looked at the note, the baby photo, the postmark. Then closed her eyes. I knew she'd written something, she whispered. But not this. You think she took you in, just like that? I don't think she had a choice. That sentence sat heavy between us. Like an unopened drawer with something rotting inside. We started going through more of Mom's things. Old yearbooks, letters, dusty filing boxes full of receipts and warranties for appliances long gone. And then, in the back of her wardrobe, tucked behind winter coats, a slim black binder. It was filled with medical records. At first, I assumed they were hers. But then I saw the name. Rebecca Harper. Age 5, status, missing. The photo was me. Undeniably. Except, it was dated 2 years before my actual birth certificate. 2 years before I was supposedly born. I stared at the image, my fingers numb. A girl with my face. My eyes. My lopsided smile. But how? How could I have gone missing, before I even existed? I flipped through the rest of the binder. Reports. Witness statements. An article clipped from a local paper. Toddler disappears from public park, no witnesses, no leads. The photo again. And the name, Rebecca. But my name is Rachel. Or, was it? Did Mom ever tell you how we met? I asked Claire. She looked up, pale. No, she said. Only that one day, you came home from the hospital and I was supposed to be your big sister. And you never questioned that? I was 5. I didn't question anything. We called Aunt Lily again. I asked her about Rebecca. She went quiet. Too quiet. Then said, your mother never recovered after that. After what? After the day Rebecca disappeared. I swallowed. But I am Rebecca, aren't I? Another pause. Then, I always thought you looked too much like her. But no one ever confirmed it. Harper refused to talk about that day again. What about Claire? She wasn't around yet, Lily said. Harper adopted her later. I blinked. She told us we were born a week apart. No, darling, Lily said softly. She told you that. I hung up without saying goodbye. Claire stared at me across the room. So we're both stolen? I said. She shook her head. No. I think you were returned. I think you were returned, Claire said, her voice almost apologetic. I wanted to laugh. Not because it was funny, but because it felt absurd. Who returns a child like a library book? I dropped into the chair beside her, hands trembling. So, what does that make you? I asked. A replacement? Claire blinked, then looked down. A placeholder, maybe. A story that worked better for Mom. We started putting together a timeline. Piece by jagged piece. Rebecca, the girl who looked like me, vanished at age 5. 2 years later, I appeared. No record of an adoption. No formal placement. Just a photo. A name. A rewritten history. Claire, born in March, had her birth mother listed as someone named Elaine Morrison, a woman we couldn't find any trace of. No obituary. No driver's license. No death certificate. Just that one name, printed on the birth certificate like a ghost signature. So who had sent her? And why to us? In the black binder, tucked into the back sleeve, we found one final slip of paper. A note. Faded. Unfolded too many times. You said you wanted a daughter again. I can't raise her. This is the only way to fix what happened. Please keep her safe. No name. No date. But written in the same hand as the one from the shoebox. Claire stared at it for a long time. I think someone gave me to her, she whispered. To fill the hole left by you. I nodded slowly. And then I came back. That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked the house, passing old rooms like a ghost myself. The hallway where I broke my arm at age 6. The back door where Mom used to leave sandwiches when she was too tired to deal with us. The attic stairs I was never allowed to climb until after she died. Something had always felt off about this house. Not haunted. Not cursed. Configured. As if every room had been repurposed to contain a version of a lie. Around 3 a.m., I opened Mom's nightstand drawer. Inside, beneath a stack of tissues and expired vitamins, I found a key. Small. Labeled studio. We didn't have a studio. Or so I thought. Then I remembered the shed behind the garden. Padlocked. Always locked. Mom used to say it was full of old junk. But I'd never actually seen inside. Claire joined me in the garden, flashlight in hand. The wind was sharp that night. Like the house itself was trying to keep us from going further. The key fit. The door creaked open. Dust. Stacks of boxes. And then, in the corner, a trunk with peeling green paint and a broken clasp. Inside were tapes. Dozens of them. Each one labeled by year. And one labeled in red ink. The day she came back. The tape slid into the old camcorder with a soft click. We held our breath as Claire pressed play. For a moment, nothing. Just static. The faint buzz of an old machine humming to life. Then, voices. Not words. Just tone. A woman's voice, sharp and purposeful. Then a child's. Hesitant. Young. And then the camera stabilized. We saw our mother. Hair pulled back. Sweater sleeves rolled up. She looked younger, early 40s maybe. She was seated at the kitchen table, where we now sat watching. Across from her, a little girl. Dressed in yellow. Dirty knees. Eyes wide and tired. It was me. Or, it was Rebecca. Do you remember anything? Mom asked softly on the video. The girl shook her head. Not even a name? Pause. Then a whisper. Rachel. Claire's grip on the camcorder tightened. Mom leaned closer to the camera. If you're watching this, she said, then you've opened something you shouldn't have. Her tone was calm. Controlled. Not the way people usually speak on home videos. This wasn't for family. This was for evidence. She continued. Rebecca came back to me today. She says her name is Rachel now. She doesn't remember the park. Or Lily. Or the blue dress. Mom sighed. I'm going to raise her as Rachel. I'll tell people she's adopted. That she needed a home. But if they ask, if anyone ever asks, she's mine. The screen went black for a moment. Then another clip started. Same girl. Same table. But a new voice in the background. You sure about this? A man asked. I don't have another choice, Mom said. She won't survive the questions. And I won't survive another goodbye. Claire paused the tape. What the hell does that mean? She asked. I shook my head slowly. I think it means she made a deal with herself. A deal? I nodded. To bury Rebecca. And invent Rachel. For my own protection. Claire's eyes were glassy. And me? Was I part of the invention? We sat in silence. Outside, the wind knocked something off the porch. A flower pot, maybe. Or a piece of time. We kept digging through the trunk. More tapes. One labeled with Claire's real name, Anna Morrison. On it, a hospital hallway. A woman handing a baby to Mom. No signature. No legal paperwork. Just arms releasing a child into hers. She's yours now, the woman said, and turned away. Claire watched the screen like she might scream. I was never even asked. I was just given. We found one final tape, smaller than the rest. Labeled only. For her. We didn't know which of us it meant. But we pressed play anyway. On screen, Mom. Older. Worn. I don't know if you're watching this together or apart, she began. But I know someday you'll dig through the ashes. I raised both of you in the shadow of decisions that didn't belong to you. And you deserved better. She looked down. I didn't lie to hurt you. I lied to keep you whole. But maybe that was never mine to decide. The screen cut to black. We didn't speak much the next morning. Claire sat on the porch steps, shoulders hunched like someone waiting for an answer that wouldn't come. I made coffee neither of us drank. It wasn't the shock anymore. It was the aftershock, the steady, quiet unraveling of identity that no one prepares you for. Like standing barefoot in a hallway that's too quiet, wondering if the door behind you will open or slam shut. Around noon, I picked up my phone and called Aunt Lily again. Did you know? I asked, skipping any greeting. She didn't ask what I meant. I suspected. I felt my chest tighten. Why didn't you tell me? Because Harper made me promise not to, and because part of me believed she was doing the right thing. You believed that hiding a stolen child was right? She didn't steal you, sweetheart. You came back. She just couldn't admit that the world let you go once. I swallowed hard. And Claire? That's when she hesitated. Longer than before. What about Claire? She asked, too carefully. I played her the tape. The one where the woman handed the baby over. When I got to the line, "She's yours now," I heard Lily gasp. That voice, she whispered. You recognize it? I think so. Who? Harper's sister. Ruth. My brain stuttered. She didn't have a sister. She didn't raise a sister, Lily corrected. But she had one. Half-sister. They were estranged. I sat down slowly. So Claire isn't a stranger. She's family. Very likely. Claire listened from the doorway. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. When Lily hung up, I turned to her. Do you want to know more? I asked. She shook her head. I don't need more names. I just need to know who I was to her. I understood. Because sometimes it's not about biology. It's about intention. And ours had been shaped by a woman who stitched two girls together from different bloodlines, pretending the seams were just freckles. That night, I found Mom's journal. Not hidden. Just shelved. The entries were sparse. But one stood out. Anna asked if she looked like me today. I said yes. I lied. She looks like Ruth. Like the part of me I buried. But maybe that's why I love her. Another page. Rebecca still flinches when someone shuts a door too loud. She doesn't remember why. I tell myself that's mercy. But some nights, I wonder if it's just erasure. Claire sat with me on the floor, journal between us. She called you Anna, I said. She called me Claire, she replied. But maybe that's who I became. I nodded. And maybe I wasn't stolen. Maybe I was forgotten. Until she remembered. Claire looked at me, not like a stranger, not like a sister, but like someone seeing the shape of something for the first time. We didn't have all the answers. We never would. But the next morning, we opened the last letter in the shoebox. Unmarked. No stamp. No name. Just 6 words again. But different this time. You were always meant to find her. We didn't know what we were looking for, only where to begin. The park where Rebecca disappeared was an hour outside the city, tucked between 2 faded neighborhoods that felt stuck in a decade they'd forgotten to update. Claire and I drove in silence. She stared out the window. I gripped the wheel like it might pull away from me. Neither of us had said it out loud, but we both knew. If something was going to break us, really break us, it was this. The bench was still there. Old wood. Rusted plaque. Same curve in the path. Same crooked swing set in the distance. I sat down slowly. Claire stayed standing, arms crossed. It was windy. The kind of wind that carries voices you can almost hear if you listen too hard. Do you remember anything? She asked gently. I shook my head. Not the moment I vanished. Not the face of whoever left me here. Only flashes. The feeling of sticky hands. The smell of crushed leaves. A woman's voice, humming something off-key. And then, silence. Claire knelt beside the bench and ran her fingers underneath the wood. After a moment, she paused. There's something taped here. She pulled free a small envelope, yellowed by time. Inside, a photo. Of the bench. Empty. On the back, in my mother's handwriting. You came back to this spot every year. Even when you didn't know why. I stared at it. My breath caught. All those afternoons I'd walked here alone in my 20s, just to clear my head. The dozens of photos I'd taken without realizing I was trying to remember something. It wasn't nostalgia. It was instinct. Claire looked at the photo, then at me. She brought you here, she whispered. Maybe not the day you came back. But later. To anchor something. I nodded. So I wouldn't forget, even if I didn't know what I was remembering. We sat together on that bench until the sun dipped below the tree line. It was quiet. Not peaceful, but honest. A place that no longer had to hold a lie. Before we left, I took one last look around. Then spotted it. Etched into the wood of the bench, faded but legible. She is mine. And she is safe now. Claire traced the words gently. I think she meant both of us. We drove home in the dark. No music. No words. Just the weight of something once hidden, finally shifting. That night, Claire packed her things. Not in a hurry. Not in anger. I need to find her, she said. Ruth. Or at least, find out what she was running from. I nodded. And for the first time, we didn't feel like sisters holding on to a lie. But 2 women finally letting it go. Claire left before sunrise. No goodbyes. No dramatics. Just a folded note on the kitchen counter. If I find her, I'll let you know. If I don't, I'll still try to understand her. I didn't need more than that. She wasn't leaving to escape. She was leaving to finish a sentence someone else had started. I stayed behind. The house felt emptier, not because someone was missing, but because nothing was pretending anymore. No photos rewritten. No birthdays shared in lie-born symmetry. No hallway echoes of "you two be good" from a woman who loved fiercely but falsely. I boxed up the paternity tests we never took. The tapes we never finished. The names we never wore. And I kept only one thing, the photo of the empty bench. A few weeks later, I got a call from Aunt Lily. "There's something else," she said. Of course there was. She'd found an old cassette player in her attic. Inside it, a tape. Different from the others. No labels. No dates. But once she pressed play, she heard a voice. A young woman. "I'm sorry," the voice said. "I'm not strong enough to keep her. But I know Harper will be." Lily paused the message there. "That's Ruth," she said. I'd bet everything on it. I didn't need to hear the rest. I knew what it said. Not because I imagined it, but because I remembered. Not in words. Not in events. But in the way my mother held me too tightly when I was sick. In the way Claire looked at me when I got the bigger slice of cake, but never complained. In the way no one, not one adult, ever referred to either of us as half anything. A month later, I went back to the park. Alone this time. The bench was still there. Empty again. I sat down. Pulled out a pen. And on the back of the old photo I wrote, "She wasn't my sister. But she stayed." Then folded it and left it under the bench, where someone else might find it. Because some stories don't need to be solved. They just need to be shared. I don't know where Claire is now. I don't know what name she goes by. Or what truths she's found. But I do know this. We were written into each other's lives by a woman who didn't trust the world to love us honestly. So she gave us a lie she could control. But in the end, we gave each other something better. The freedom to write the next part ourselves.